Hello, veterinary unicorns. Today I want to talk to you about something I recently learned. I actually went to a conference and I was able to do a workshop, and it was on data retention, how people learn. It was pretty interesting. And something that I learned really blew my mind, to the point that when I was on a coaching call recently with somebody that I do consulting work with, I actually shared this information, and here's why. This is so important. I think this is good for anyone who has children in a leadership role. If you happen to be a more senior person on your team, whatever it is, I gather you are enabling people all the time by simply giving them the answers. And what are you enabling them to do? Not know it themselves. And so I was talking to this veterinary technician manager, and she was really struggling because a lot of the team members are coming to her. They're constantly coming up and saying, oh, I have this, can you help me solve this? What would you do with this? And she said, Amy, I feel like I should get a tattoo across my forehead. And across my forehead, it should say something to the extent of, did you read the record? Because a lot of the questions they have coming to me are already in the record. They just have to read it. So I said, well, here's what I learned recently at this wonderful workshop that I took. Your brain can only retain so much information. There's only so much space in the cupboard. And I really liked that analogy because I picture the plates and the cups, and if you take something out, you can put something back in, but at some point the cupboard's completely maxed out. That's our brain, people. We don't get to constantly shove information, and we cannot retain everything. And so I equated this information to this particular person about kind of how we remember people's phone numbers, or we don't. So when we think about it, long time ago in a land far, far away, we didn't have cell phones. I still remember my home number from growing up. When I had a landline, I had a call with a little phone like this, and it was a really long cord. I have been hanging out with people for 10, 15, 20 years, new friends that I've met, and guess what? I don't know their phone number. It won't stay in my brain, and here's why. The reason for this is because I know I can quickly find the information in my cell phone. So therefore, I never need to know their phone numbers. Makes sense, right? So let's go back to that analogy of someone coming up to them and saying, hey, I have a question about so-and-so, and she wants to respond, did you read the record? How about instead of enabling this person to get the information from you, because that's what you're doing, and their brain is never going to remember the information because they know the source to go to get the information. Instead, I want you to try this technique. Well, I'm going to help you, but what happens if I'm not here? How would you find that information? I'd probably have to go read the record. Bingo. And it was such an eye-opening, conversation with this particular person, as well as when I learned it, because I thought, am I the cell phone? Am I inhibiting people from learning because I'm just giving them the answers all the time? Hi, I probably am guilty of do that. And that's the reality of a lot of us, is we want to help. We want to just give them the answer. And so it is easy. It is easy because we know where the answer is. It's in the record, or it's right here, or it's inside my brain. But that doesn't help anyone learn, because unless we constantly memorize the numbers, we end up just going to our cell phone because our brain says, I don't have to know this. Amy Newfield knows everything. I'll just ask Amy, right? I'll ask Amy. Amy always knows. Amy has the answer. So I don't need to remember this. So if we want our team members, if we want our kids, if we want our family members, if we want anyone in our life to remember things, don't be the enabler. Don't be the cell phone. Don't be the cell phone that easily gives away all the answers. Instead, be the person to challenge this. And this is kind of, just train the trainer 101. If you want to train someone to learn it on their own, challenge them. Ask them things like, why did you do what you did? Or, hang on, if I wasn't here, how would you find that information? Or, okay, you ran out of paper towels. Let's just say I wasn't here. How would you solve that problem? Okay, by letting them think and process it, it's going to be more likely seared into their brain. The next time they counter that problem, they're not going to come to you, hopefully. Or if they do, you can just remind them, hey, what worked last time? Oh, yes, okay. It's repetitive behaviors drive information into the brain, and your brain is covered. It doesn't have endless amounts of information. Instead, it categorizes and it organizes, and it says, I never need to know this because I know where to find the answer. So if you end up finding yourself answering everyone's problems and thinking that it's just easier to answer them yourselves, challenge people. Don't be the cell phone. Thank you so much for everything that you do, and keep on being a unicorn.